Hello, coaches. Welcome back to another episode of Coach Better Spotlight. My name is Kim Cafino, and I've worked with hundreds of teachers, coaches, and leaders in schools around the world to help them create thriving and sustainable instructional coaching programs. And I'm on a mission to help you coach better. Wherever you are in your coaching journey, we can support you. Come learn with me in one of our courses or private mentoring packages designed specifically for instructional coaches. Join our global Coach Better community, ask any questions you'd like to hear us answer, and find all of our resources for instructional coaches on our website at coachbetter.tv. You can also find us on social media at Eduro Learning or at our Coach Better Facebook group, and subscribe to our channel here on YouTube to catch all of our latest videos. If you're not sure where to start, take our free quiz to get a tailored list of resources delivered straight to you and designed specifically for your level of coaching experience. Find it at coachbetter.tv/quiz. Today, I am chatting with Joel Birch, certified facilitator and pro trainer of Lego Serious Play. I have been wanting to have Joel on the show for such a long time, and I am so excited to share this episode now. Joel is such a pro at bringing fun, humor, and creativity and play into his work. Just being in his orbit helps lighten the mood and start seeing creative possibilities you might not have noticed before. This episode is all about how to bring that kind of energy to your work, even if you're a type A, non-creative like me. In this spotlight, Joel and I are talking about the impact of bringing play into a work environment. We also share the results of our behind-the-scenes Lego Serious Play project that we created before we started recording. On the full-length audio podcast, we also chat about the power of play to develop relationships, how to structure the implementation of play for type A personalities, the kind of environment needed to embrace play, how informal leaders can bring play into their work, and what can go wrong when you experiment with play at work. This conversation highlights how powerful play can be when we intentionally bring it into our work with other adults. To listen to the full-length episode, subscribe to Coach Better wherever you get your podcasts. One of the things that is so great about being an instructional coach is that we have the capacity to be creative in our work with our coaching partners. As you watch or listen to this episode, I encourage you to think about how you might make some time for creative thinking and maybe some Lego Serious Play in your work with your coaching partners, teams, or large groups. Okay, let's jump into this episode. Thinking about leadership in general, what kind of impact does bringing fun and play into a working environment have? Like, how does making time for it, making space for it, change our working environment?
Yeah, so I think probably the little segue there from from what we were talking about before is when you bring a purpose to it, and you sort of trusting play as that practice, and you keep the purpose nice and high level and big picture, and then you pour a whole lot of trust into your people to be invested in that and to find their own way to be invested in that bigger purpose. Play can really, it brings out people's best thinking. It brings out kind of the most kind of exciting and generous side of us if we position it in the right way culturally. I also thought this was the really great opportunity to actually test out some Lego Serious Play. So yeah, as you mentioned earlier, we had a little build beforehand to this topic, and I've got some thoughts beyond it. But yeah, I got an old friend that used to give me a hard time whenever I cooked about acting like a TV chef because I'd throw a towel over my shoulder, and I've just kind of held on to that TV chef thing of like, well, here's one we prepared earlier.
Yes.
So, so the question that I asked, and I made sure Kim had some Lego before we built.
Yes, thank you for that.
Yeah. So before we jumped on the call, so the question, when I run my Lego Serious Play sessions, I always like to throw really big, wide open questions to my participants and then invite them to build a model that answers that question. And they just build fast and loose and messy. If you can recognize it by the end of it, they've probably missed the point completely. So you end up with this wonderful room full of weird looking models that invite a whole lot of curiosity and need some stories told about them. Having that culture and that practice of telling stories rather than just providing explanations does a really great job of shifting your listening dynamic from listening to respond to listening to understand. And it does it without needing to set any of those kind of patronizing meeting norms that go on the wall. It just does it by invitation because it's a real pull force rather than a push force, because I think it just activates something lovely and human in us. So yeah, I love this for just how good it is at bringing out the best in us, just because it's what we got. So we built some models.
Yes.
And so we both got a story to tell. So the question I asked was, what good? Yeah, but I think before we look at the impact, let's look at what we want to come from it and what our hopes might be for it. So the question I asked was, what good can come from loosening the formality at work? So kind of thinking about when we loosen the tie, when we relax into things a little bit and let go of some of the things that might have been tough norms at the beginning of our career, and and just be a little bit more open about things. What good can come from it? Kim, do you want to share yours first? So I'll get you just kind of hold the model up to the camera and point to things as you talk about them, move it around, really just kind of connect what you've built to the story you can tell.
Okay, so first of all, I am not a Lego person. This is me, type A, already explaining why I didn't do it right. So some of my pieces don't actually stick on here. So I'm going to like remove them so I can turn it sideways. So I found the pieces that were like transparently colored because I thought that something about loosening the formality helps us be more ourselves, and like it felt freeing. So like there were some transparent ones and I don't know why, but I couldn't get it to stick on the piece. So I've got like this blue transparent one. Then I've got this yellow transparent one. I put a bunch of round things on here because I also felt like, again, maybe we're used to being a certain way, a certain structure, a certain process. And for me, that feels square. I don't know. So I looked for round pieces. So there's this round yellow transparent one, and there's this little round white one that I put a little flower in it because I think good things can grow when we're planted in different places in different ways. And then the first thing, as soon as you said, what happens when you loosen the formality, you can see there's a little dog on here. My mom recently got a dog. She's a small dog. Joel, I know you've seen pictures of the dog.
I have seen many pictures of the dog.
The dog is like, just makes me so happy. So as soon as you said, what can come of loosening the formalities, I just had this moment of like fun, joy, running, playing, like happiness. And so a very literal person that I am, I've got a little tiny dog on here. And then I have this like hot pink thing here because, again, color like made me feel like excited, fun, freedom, different. And it also is kind of this slanting shape. So it's, again, like something out of the ordinary. And then I have this other piece like sticking off at the side, and actually like looking at my pieces afterwards, there was way more, but I was feeling like it's taking us in a different direction and another
cool.
And like more space. It gives us more space. That's kind of what I came up with.
I love it. That was absolutely like right in the pocket for what you'd expect to find it as a Lego Serious Play model. Yeah, I get it. Thank you.
I know yours is like
so
much more free thinking, so I'm excited to see yours.
It's more just that I get the cool thing about this is like when I first started doing this, I was worried that like repeat experiences might, the magic might wear off a little bit, but it's like getting fit. Like you develop a fitness with it, and I'm yet to. It's not that I'm yet to find things where it won't work, because there are places where it definitely doesn't work. But I'm forever finding new ways to apply it, new kinds of conversations to bring it into. So for me, what good can come from loosening the formality at work? I built this. So it's really kind of all around this box in the middle that's springing open, and the good that's coming out of it. One of the things that loosening that formality allows us to do is I've got these two people here. I'll angle it up so you can see they're having a coffee together. So loosening the formality just invites us to bond with each other and connect in different ways. It's also kind of a way where we can share of each other and
Nice.
And kind of give something of ourselves to each other and accept that influence a little bit more. So like you had your dog for fun and play. I've got a couple of cats here because they are, loosening the formality. It opens up some opportunity to be a little bit curious about the way things work. It's also just a really great way. There's a fence here that's kind of flopping off to the side, so it's a great way to knock down some barriers. And now springing out of the box, I've got a couple of things here. So there's just this thing growing. It's in the pink and the green. So it's where the ideas that the people have and the contributions that the people make, they'll spring up and they might go somewhere. They might, not immediately, but down the line, they might go somewhere, and there'll be kind of the seeds of an idea there, and then further down the line, those ideas might grow into other things, and they might just have surprises on there. There's not really much reason to the chicken other than it was a surprising thing.
It is surprising, yeah.
It's surprising.
Yeah.
Yeah. The chameleon on top, that's just to kind of say by loosening the formality, it lets us look at things in a different way. And it lets us change our expectations of the way things are and what we might see there. And lastly here, I've got this elephant here, and that elephant is on its way out. I think by loosening the formality, I'm not saying that you won't have elephants in the room. I'm just saying the old elephants will leave, and you might just have different elephants in the room.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, that was what good can come from loosening the formality at work.
And as you're talking and sharing, and as we just shared our things, one of the things that is connecting for me is like, if you are someone who doesn't feel comfortable with like completely loosening the formality, your advice of like keeping it in a box is a really good way to think about how you could approach this in your practice. It's like, okay, it doesn't mean there's never any formality ever again, and we are just going from 0 to 100. It means we're looking for spaces and times where we can bring an element of playfulness into our work. And for people in the room, virtual or real, who also might not feel comfortable in the zone of playfulness, knowing that it's in a box can help them engage in that conversation too. So I appreciate how all this is tying together.
Yeah. We might link photos of these models to the show notes for anyone that's just picking this up on audio.
Yeah,
so they can
absolutely.
click out to that. So yeah. Now, what else was I going to say? So yeah, I think
you're going to talk about the impact.
I was going to talk about the impact. So yeah, I think bringing that play and fun into the working environment, I think it does a couple of really interesting things for leadership. One is that it reduces like the authority distance. And that's a really powerful thing. And because it demands, but it also generates and develops and deepens a really participatory style of leadership. So I've developed over the last few years a pretty good sense just in my introductory meeting with people over whether this is going to work, and just based on the leadership vibe I get from them, and the ones where I can sense are really participatory, happy to sit down and interested in sitting down alongside their people and working on things together. They're the people that I end up hauling a suitcase full of Lego into their boardrooms. The ones who I sense a more authority-driven style of leadership, I don't know why. I do know why, but I just don't hear back from them. Yeah. But yeah, kind of, I think the big things that come of it are that trusting play to do the important stuff kind of does three really important things. One is that like play is bold, play is resourceful, and play is emergent. So it invites that boldness of thinking and like not all of the bold ideas you have will find a place in practice, but kind of if you bite down on them before you get to speak them out loud, the timid ideas get a free pass. So players, it's resourceful. It's emergent. So it kind of, as you're playing with these bolder ideas and being immersed in that, it opens up a sense of following those ideas where they need to go, because you're in that nice little box of this temporary special world of a playful environment. I think looking at some of Joseph Campbell's work around on the hero's journey gives you a neat little thing there of crossing that threshold into the special world. Like when Samwise Gamgee gets to that point in the field and he says, if I take one more step, I'm going to be further away from home than I've ever been. Stepping into that special world where, I'm on the path to being a hero here. I am here to do some wild stuff. If I wanted to do the normal stuff, I would have stayed at home. So kind of that rolling out that temporary playful environment gives you the sandbox to do that in. And it shifts you from train of thought to stream of consciousness, because you get to get off the tracks a little bit. And then the last thing is, play is resourceful. So as we shift from individual play to collective play, my sense of emergence and my boldness ideas begin to interact with your sense of emergence and your boldness of ideas. And we get this really, it's kind of everything I'm aware of in my emergence starts to take in what everything else that's happening. And you just start to find these wonderful connections between things.
Really appreciate those three kind of characteristics and that idea of your point of, if you bite down on a idea before it has a chance, the timid idea gets a pass. And that really resonates with me, because I love ideas. I am a person who has a lot of ideas and really tries hard to put them into practice. And I do think that there is value in exploring lots of different ideas, even if you can't take them all the way down that path. And so the idea of just finding new ways to get our great ideas out of our brains and into some way we can talk about them, that is really powerful. And I think schools in particular, because that's where I spend my time. I know you've got a whole another world that you work with, but
I also spend a lot of time with schools. So I understand.
Such complex problems, and we're so stuck in the way that we do things. So giving us space to think about those complex problems in a way that we haven't maybe thought about them before, or in a way that is constantly dynamic and changing, and we're interacting with others, feels like such a wonderful place for us to essentially think outside the box, which I know is like a super trite way to describe it. But to me, that's what I'm hearing you say, is like, there's this opportunity to look at things in a new light and merge and emerge with others in that setting with you.
Yes. I like that. Merge and emerge. Nice.
Okay, good. Thanks for watching this clip with Joel. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. We all need a little more joy, a little more fun, a little more play in our lives. This conversation reminds me how much more we enjoy learning when we're having fun, and it inspires me to think about the ways that I can make the professional learning experiences I design intentionally incorporate more fun. If you're an instructional coach, a middle-level leader, or even a senior leader, I hope this conversation has given you some inspiration to do the same. And if you're an aspiring or current instructional coach and you want to explore different ways that we can engage adult learners in professional growth experiences that are engaging and fun, we can do that together in one of our courses for coaches. Each of our global cohorts creates intentional time and space for instructional coaches around the world to get together and actually talk about our work and how we can continue to grow in the right next step for each individual. We offer 3 global cohorts a year, all tailored to your specific experience level. Each of our 3 global cohorts will help you take the next step in your coaching practice, either as a brand new or aspiring coach in getting started as an instructional coach, or as a current coach or educator ready to build a coaching program in the Coach Certificate and Mentorship Program, or as a coach who's ready to lead in our course, Coaches as Leaders. Find all the details about all of our courses for coaches at coachbetter.tv/learn. Global cohorts open once a year. Get the details at coachbetter.tv/learn. If you're not sure which course is right for you, watch one of our free workshops for instructional coaches designed for your level of experience, so you can take the next step in your learning right now and uncover which course is just right for you. Find it all at coachbetter.tv/learn. Wherever you are in your coaching journey, we can support you. If you're curious right now, if you have questions, please reach out. You can leave a comment down below or on the show notes at coachbetter.tv. You can join our Coach Better Facebook group, or you can find us on social media at Eduro Learning and send me a DM. I'd love to support you on your coaching journey. See you next time.